Hey you guys, this is Dash from Bloom Where You're Planted, and this is a crazy time, isn't it, you guys? So we are practicing social distancing, but not that much has really changed for us because we were already homeschooling, so that kind of just continues. May the force be with you, those that are just forced into homeschooling. It's not always as smooth as you would have hoped, but anyway, good luck to you. Unfortunately, Mr. Miller still has to go to work. My husband Hunter still has to go to work. He cannot work from home. He works at a printing company, and so he is at risk because he's got asthma. So yeah, we're praying for him and just doing the best we can on that front. So the one thing that has changed for us is a couple of friends, well, quite a few people have contacted me, and they're wanting to know how to start their first gardens. I think with everybody going to the grocery store and having essential items not there for them has made everybody realize, wow, growing some food for myself is a really good idea. So that is awesome. I'm so glad. I'm always glad to reach out to people and help them to grow, learn how to grow their own food. That is my mission in life. So I will leave a link to my blog, and you can go on there, and I have tons of information about how to get started. I thought today that I would just kind of show you where I am with my food growing efforts, so you could just get a first-hand glimpse into what I'm doing and what kind of food is coming out of my garden right now and off of my homestead. All right, guys, come on. So we're constantly getting eggs from the homestead. We get the others from the other nest box. Look at those beautiful eggs, you guys. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So we get about 8 a day. So day 2 of social distancing, and this is what happens to an extrovert when you socially distance her from her friends. Let me show you. She puts a window on her door. Isn't she really talented, you guys? My daughter is so talented. She just did that yesterday. So now she can look out into a lovely landscape. So the food we're actually getting out of the garden right now is lots of kale and lots of spinach and lettuce. And then the Brussels sprouts are growing, but the big plant is kind of deceiving because they're tiny in there. See, that's the beginning of a Brussels sprout. So we'll see if we actually get Brussels sprouts from these. Looks good so far though. A tiny beginning. So the things that are growing and up and coming in the garden is, this is elephant garlic, and this is regular garlic. So we'll give those a few months more. This clover, which we're not going to eat, but my rabbits and my chickens are, so I need to cut some and take it back to them so that it can be in their eggs. And onions are bulbing up. They'll be ready in May. And it looks like I need to get my talented daughter out here to put another coat on El Gallo during this break in life. We also have some purple sprouting broccoli and some collards coming up. They need a little bit longer, but this is the advantage of winter gardening. Pop these things in, and then every time it froze, I threw a frost cloth cover over them, and then in springtime, man, they just burst forth with some food before it gets too hot in the summer. And And the tomato plants are almost ready to go out in the garden. They got started a little bit late, but they're short because this is a container type of tomato that I'm super excited about. I wanted to try one out for you guys that don't have much space and want to do your tomatoes in containers. And it's called Tasmanian Chocolate. I will leave a link in the description if you want to check it out. But as you can see, I did lots of extras for my friends. So I'll definitely be passing these out to people that want to start a new spring garden and want to try tomatoes. These are some different varieties. So remember, in Dallas, Texas, you're a fool or you're foolish if you don't get your tomatoes in by April Fool's Day. That's how I remember in my mind. You have to have tomatoes in by April Fool's Day, April 1st. And then protect them with milk cartons or 5-gallon buckets if it freezes, which I do not think it's going to, but it's happened before. I've been wrong before, so I don't put anything out that I don't have things to protect it with. Now I got started with my tomato plants a little bit late this year. They're doing fine, but just to ensure that I get tomatoes, I went to the feed store and got my old reliable hybrid, Super Fantastic. So I'm guaranteed some of those juicy red orbs this season. Don't forget your fertilizer, you guys. And dig your hole extra deep and plant that tomato plant deep, and it'll get roots along its stem. A couple of things I am doing in my garden by seed right now are sugar snap peas and a quick crop of daikon radishes, which are really good roasted, and it ends up being a lot of food for your family. So those are two things I'm doing by seed right now. Middle of March in Dallas, Texas. So I wanted to show you guys what I have under my seed starting system. And that is some more tomatoes and peppers, and then I've got some basil coming up here, and some strawberries haven't come up, and lavender and chives. So that's this plat. And then under here, we're patiently waiting for things like basil, buttercrunch lettuce, ruby and emerald duet lettuce, seasoning celery, some beets, bok choy, rosetta, Napa cabbage, and some morning glories. So we're patiently waiting for those to come up. And these are all of these ones in here are cool season veggies and flowers. Stella. We will be putting warm season things in the garden in just a few weeks. After April 15th, we'll start the warm season things. So by that I mean seeds. So if you want to put in a seed order, you've still got lots of time to do squashes and basil, and let's see, your winter squashes like butternut squash, and your okra and your eggplant. And what else? Egyptian spinach, green beans, Yeah, so in just a few weeks, if you want to do a seed order, I will leave a link in the description to some of my favorite seed companies, and you can still get started with all those warm season things by seed if you don't have a seed set up like this growing. So I just want to show you what a gardener is doing right about now to get their garden started. And we are expecting new life on the homestead. New life goes on. So we're expecting baby rabbits any day, probably tonight. See how she's got fur in her mouth. She's making a nice furry nest. She'll be pulling fur from her underside to make a nest for her babies. Hey, buddy. You're gonna be a proud papa in maybe tonight or a few days. We'll see. And we're also expecting babies from Madeline. Oof. Did you hear that? She went, ah. Look at the fur in her mouth. She is definitely making a nest. Babies tonight. Whoop, whoop. So, I also wanted to share with you guys that I was talking to my father in prayer this morning, and he was reminding me that there are some ways that you can connect with him and get his peace. Like a lot of people say, you know, they pray for the peace of God, and some practical ways that I do that I just want to share with you, because fear can be overwhelming, and we need that peace that only God can give us. And the way I get that is by praising. So I have praise songs, a fight song list, if you will, that I can just put my earbuds in and just praise and get into the Father. And then the other thing I do is make thankful lists. When I'm really up against it and I feel that fear crowding in, this is girl right above me. Okay, hey Nala. When I feel that fear crowding in, I make a thankful list of things I'm thankful for, and just even write them down. I'm being photobombed so badly here. Oh my gosh, I'm trying to do something serious here. The other thing I do is I read the Word of God out loud. Just speak it over my life. So those are three things that I can do to get the peace of God when I'm fearful. So hopefully you can do those things too. And definitely, I get out on the homestead, get in the garden, and that is awesome. There's always projects going on here, so I'm still very busy, and that relieves my stress and gets my mind off things. But if you don't have a garden or a homestead yet, go for a walk. We have been taking walks every evening. So yeah, kind of get through this time. Of course, it's only day 2. All right, you guys. God bless.
Nala. Sit. Good. Pow. Nala. Pow. Yes, good girl. Good girl, Nala.